That's a good idea. Turn on do not disturb.
You think we're good to start?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so I'm gonna call the June 10th meeting to order at 1:01 p.m. Welcome, everyone. First thing we'll do is do attendance. If Sean would like to provide the attendance on Zoom for us, and then Lee, or if people want to go around, it doesn't matter.
I'd be happy to do that. Do turn your mic off first, Dustin, though. All right. That way we don't get crosstalk. Okay. So on Zoom, we have, hello, quiet. On Zoom, we have Erwin, Larry and Nikki Hansen, Kathy Withman, and Denise Bauman.
In the room is Lee Tucker. There's Dustin Grandstaff and Sean Thiel.
Troy Sullivan.
Gail Baldwin.
Gail
Jill
Baldwin.
Russell. Carol Riddle. And Betty Hunt.
Closer to the mic, guys.
Use the mic when you can.
Mike Russell.
Margaret Muse.
Melody Holloway and a neck brace.
Larry Honecker.
Marty Honecker. Mary Carabinas.
And that's it.
Awesome.
And the two that were a little hard to hear on Zoom were Carol Riddle and Gail Baldwin. So just want to make sure the Zoom folks know that they are here.
Cool. Thank you, guys. So the next thing would be the secretary's report. Did anyone get a chance to look at the secretary's report that was sent out? Does Ed maybe want to go run through it really quickly?
I didn't have any correction. I didn't find anything that needed changed.
Yeah, as Ed is not here, so we're
Okay, so do we want to make a motion to approve the secretary's report from the last meeting?
Erwin, I'll make a motion to approve it as revised.
Okay, Erwin motions, anyone second?
Kathy Withman, second.
We had 2 seconds, so I'm going to just take it as that is, if that's all right.
Yeah, Mary Carabinas was first.
Okay, that's fine. So everyone in favor of approving the secretary's report from last month, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Cool. Moving on, treasurer's report. Lee, you want to run down the treasurer's report with us real quickly?
okay. Sorry for the extra noise there. Ending balance is $22,733.89 in the main checking account. By the way, this covers the period May 13th to June 9th, as in yesterday. And that's a decrease of $170.72. 2 deposits networked for good. And also Amazon Smile, the very last deposit from them of $26.69. And the expenses for the month are as AT&T is are ubiquitous $16.11. And there is a cash withdrawal temporarily for something called the engagement benefit. We will get to that. People helping people account, ending balance $2,196.76, an increase of $9. The pennies for May was it was $9, and that's where the increase is coming from. Savings, no change, $6,243.54. And the estimated value, market value of the Columbus Foundation as of yesterday was $85,950.40. The only notes to this financial statement is the aforementioned $200 cash withdrawal, and we will get to that later in the meeting.
Thank you, Lee. And it sounds like we have some people that just joined us. Should we do that attendance really quickly or go ahead and approve the treasurer's report first?
Oh, let's get the attendance here.
Okay.
Second, Joy Sullivan.
Okay, so we're gonna do attendance first, and then I will hold those motions. Did we get the attendance?
Ed Snively,
Mary Lynn Pifo.
All right, awesome. Thank you, guys. So we have Gail and Troy, who both have made the motion to accept the treasurer's report from last month. Everybody in favor, say aye.
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 Anyone oppose? Sweet. Let's move on to Denise. Can you please give us an update on the PHP?
Okay, sure. I have no new PHP activity for this month.
Okay. Next, Nikki Hansen, can you give us an update on the Sunshine Committee, please?
Yes, just to go over what I mentioned last month and bring an update. Don Haynes was in the hospital with a heart procedure and he's home now, doing very well. Gail Holton, who had a seizure in the doctor's office, was hospitalized, but she is now home too. And we are so happy to hear that Gail Baldwin's with us and at home. Yeah, you're at the meeting, yay. And also Patrick Simmons was in Riverside ER for internal bleeding and had a blood transfusion. But I'm not sure whether he's home or not, but I will check with him this week.
Yeah, so this morning he was not home.
That's what I figured it would be a while, yeah.
Yeah, I've worked with Patrick since 2014 and
Yeah.
watched many episodes of the Judge shows at his house. And
Oh, yay.
yeah, and Janae's mother, Patrick is married to her sister. You know,
Right,
so
right,
she calls Patrick Uncle Sean, so she can't figure out why we call rest of us call him.
right.
So, anyhow, this
Letting me know, Lee.
yeah, but it's a pretty serious situation because his hemoglobin is supposed to be something like 14 and it was like 4. So,
Yeah.
so that's why he's in there.
And also Melody is healing. She has had several issues and is undergoing treatment. But she's here today too, so I'm happy to say that.
Awesome. Thank you for the updates on that.
You're welcome.
Let's keep those people in our thoughts or however we handle situations like that. Everybody handles them differently. ACB Ohio, is there anyone that can give us an update on ACB Ohio or national, whatever?
I will just quickly mention that registration for the national conference and convention closes June 16th. So if you have not registered either for the virtual or in person, you want to do that. If you are attending virtually, wow, this is really bizarre because I'm hearing myself. If you are attending virtually, the newspaper is free this year. It is not an additional $10 as it was in the past for virtual. Now, if you're attending on site, you probably do have to because they're printing it and embossing it and all that fun stuff. And remember that the treasurer will reimburse the $35 administration fee. So you will get a confirmation email with your receipt and you can send that to him and he will keep track of that. So I know that's going on. We are still working on the convention. Normally we would have had a meeting for this month, but it needed to be moved later into the month. And so that means that there are things that we were asked to do and we're doing that I don't know the results of those yet. For example, I contacted APH to try and get a talking book narrator as a banquet speaker, and I contacted their studio director on the 29th and haven't heard back. I do believe that we will have a workshop on independent living skills for people who are newly blind, cooking techniques, that sort of thing. Megan Hayden from the Northwest Site Center, as they have now rebranded themselves, not just the Toledo Site Center, but they're the Site Center of Northwest Ohio. She's agreed to do that. So that is one thing I do know about. And I don't know, but as far as how things are with ACBO and the office and stuff, I don't know that kind of thing. One more thing, tomorrow is our monthly membership call, 7:30. And we will be hearing from several of the radio reading services around the state. And Katie will send that email. She said that email is going to come out today. It's the 614-261-3561, the meeting ID that is what she tends to use for that, unless something falls over, but it has been working reliably for the past several months. So that's all I have.
Awesome. Thank you, Sean. Does anyone have any questions or need
John?
something clarified?
Sean, it's Erwin. Do you know if they've had the radio reading service conference yet? Because that was going to be here in Columbus.
I do not know that yet.
Okay.
All I know, I texted Katie to find out what the topic was, and she told me that, and she said that she had a migraine and she would get back to me later, and I haven't. That's all the information I've got, is that tomorrow
Okay.
there will be
Thanks.
yeah, people from the reading services, but that's all I know. But you can come on that tomorrow and ask her and ask them. That would be good.
I will try to do that.
Awesome. Okay. Well, if there's no other questions or comments about that, ACB Columbus chapter business. I think Lee has what we call the engagement transportation fund to discuss. So we should probably go over that now. Lee, do you want to walk us through that?
Yes. At last meeting, some people volunteered to be on a committee meeting to talk about how to increase engagement at the chapter meetings, because we kind of missed the part where everybody got together and had a great time talking to each other and sharing things going on in their lives. And the committee consisted of myself and Janae Miller and Ed Snively and Mary Lynn Pifo. And we came up with plus given the advice that we had from Vicki Brand to not call it the travel benefit. And anyway, so if you may recall, we had a travel benefit, which depended entirely on being a member. And if you made it to, if you're a member by February 15th and made it to 6 chapter meetings, a certain pool of money got divided up among people. And what we're suggesting now is based on chapter members and any blind or visually impaired person who's a resident of Central Ohio who happens to show up in our meetings. And what we really are suggesting is, well, what I'll do here is I will read the benefit as the motion that would be put into the record. The Columbus chapter engagement benefit. This benefit is intended to encourage in-person attendance and engagement in the Columbus chapter business meetings. We wish to facilitate face-to-face interaction, sharing, and networking. Any adult 18 years or older who is a chapter member or a blind or visually impaired resident of Central Ohio who attends a Columbus chapter business meeting in person shall receive $10. The benefit will be paid in person at the end of the business meeting, in the interval between the end of the business meeting and before the introduction of the speaker. Now, I want to go through this line by line a little bit. I mean, we're trying to encourage in-person attendance and engagement at the business meeting. So we're not talking about any extra meetings that we have. It's not the Christmas meeting or not the summer get together. And we need to make sure they aren't minors.
You're fading away, Lee.
We're making to make sure we're not minors.
Thank you.
Thank you. The microphone does move around. And in order to keep us happy with the IRS, Granted, anyone who shows up here who is a blind or visually impaired person, we immediately descend upon them and try to get them to join the chapter right away. But if somebody, and this has happened, have been one person that showed up twice in the last 6 months, and so that person was visually impaired and would have been eligible for the benefit. And that we've chosen the number $10 is arbitrary because the federal government happens to make $10 bills. And the reason for paying the benefit at the end of the business meeting is because that's easy, rather than paying, say, what we've got something like 14, 15 people here in person, rather than sending out 15 checks a month. So discussion.
I have a question, just a logistics question. Will you be ending the meeting at 10 till 2, or should speakers expect to come like at 2:10 or 2:15? If you're going to be doing that between the two events?
Well, Denise, we used to be pretty good about how we budgeted our time during chapter meetings. We haven't been recently, but as you may have noticed, today's meeting is going significantly faster. And we used to have a raffle in between the business meeting and the speaker. So we managed to jam it in, and my memory is that we started pretty much on time. So it's about budgeting time in the meeting rather than when we start. To me, anyway.
I just like to respect people's time, and I don't want to feel like we're holding somebody up while we do it. So I'm just wondering if I should make it 2:10 just to give us some wiggle room.
You probably don't need to give it 10 minutes. Hello?
It's Erwin. My suggestion would be that we aim to end the meeting at 1:55.
Sean, the other thing you could do is just, ask the speakers to come, at 5 after. I mean, that's not, that's not a whole lot of extra time, but it would probably be enough to go around and hand money and stuff. If I were a speaker and somebody said, "Oh, would you mind coming at 2:05 instead of 2 o'clock?" I wouldn't care.
No, I don't think the time that you ask them to come matters. It's just wanting to support flow. So 2:05, okay.
Yeah, this is Marty. You folks have probably been discussing this a little bit before today, but I was wondering, is there going to be a maximum amount of money that's going to be paid out on a yearly basis for this project?
We haven't set that amount yet, but right now we have something like $6,000 more in our checking account than we really ever have had back in your era and back in my era. And to do our duty by the community, we need to bring that down. $6,000 is about equal to what the old travel benefit was over the 3 years that we haven't paid it. And looking at the number of attendees we had for the last 4 months or so, that would have amounted to around $400. So we can change that at any time, whether it's $10 or, make it 8 or God help us or whatever, or maybe even raise it to 15. But we can put a limit on it later. That would be my thought.
Well, sometimes if you start out with a certain amount of money that you pay out, it's probably easier to go forward with that as opposed to changing. If you're trying to encourage people to come to the meeting, I think a person almost has to have an idea of how much they want to spend as a maximum for that project for a year. And say you have 40 people attend a meeting, well, there's $400 if you pay out $10 each. If you have 20, of course, that would be only 200. But if you're trying to encourage people to come, then you're probably going to get more than what you're normally going to be getting now.
Well, since we've averaged maybe 11, well, it can't be that many. If it's $400 for 4 meetings that we didn't even hit 10. So yes, it would be more people are going to come, we could say this, why don't we append a notion to it that it won't exceed $2,500 this year? Why don't we do that? That'd be reasonable.
Yeah, I think so.
That's reasonable.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that would mean if you start out in January and you reach the 2,500 point in September, then there'd be no engagement benefit for October or November. Is that correct?
Or we would come back and look at our budget and see whether that we can handle more.
That's
See
what I
this as
meant.
being flexible, not as written in stone.
Yeah, I mean, we've gotten basically almost half the year gone already, so 2,500 for this year makes sense, and then we can set the amount for next year.
I had one question also. What about, say, a visually impaired person comes to the meeting and they have a sighted person with them? Is the person who's visually impaired the only one that's going to receive the money?
If the person who's with them who is sighted is not a chapter member, then they do not receive money. That's the way this rule is written at the moment.
So does anyone else have any questions or comments? Do we want to make a motion to approve this? What are people's thoughts?
Melody?
After each meeting, are people going to receive their individual checks, or is it going to be maybe every 4? How is that?
Cash in between. Cash actually in the meeting before the speaker.
So does anyone want to make a motion to approve this, or do we not want to approve it?
I make a motion that we approve the benefit as described with the addition of the not to exceed $2,500 for this calendar year. So I so move.
I'll second it, Irwin.
Okay. Anyone? Hold on, let me make sure. So
It's already in the minutes. It's been read in, and I will send the full thing to Ed so he can put it in the minutes.
So
Okay.
everyone to make a motion to approve the engagement benefit, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone
Aye.
oppose? Awesome. Okay, so a couple things I want to bring up. If that's okay, Lee, I'm going to go ahead and bring it up now.
Actually, I want to just mention one
Oh,
thing.
okay.
I don't know if we need to have a second motion because I am prepared to pay this benefit today. Yeah. So I propose that the engagement benefit will begin with this meeting. Any discussion?
I don't think that's a problem. I don't see many people complaining about that.
So you're
Mary seconds.
Yeah, I think we're probably
I think
in
we're good.
favor.
Okay. way to mess it up, Lee. No, I'm just teasing.
Yeah.
Okay, so the summer event that we normally do it'll be on July 29th this year. It's going to be held at Massey's Pizza and Sports Bar at Graceland Shopping Center, which the exact address is 152 Graceland Boulevard. It'll be from 2 to 5 p.m. We are capping it at 45 people. I'm going to ask if you are interested in coming. I'm going to send out an email this week, and I'm going to ask that you either email me or I'm going to see if Gail Baldwin might be willing to field phone calls for that since she enjoys doing that. And I don't.
Yes, I can do that. Oh, I can.
You don't have to scream.
Gail, I'm sorry about your nose.
Oh dear.
I'm gonna stick the microphone in my face. Yes, I can do the phone call count.
Okay.
That's fine.
That would be greatly appreciated. I will send the details out this week. I'm going to ask that everyone RSVPs by July 22nd, which is a week before. It's going to be similar to what it was like at the Rusty Bucket, where you will be able to order your meal and your meal will be covered. Any alcohol that you decide to purchase, you'll have to pay for on your own separate ticket. Lee, is there anything that I'm missing that I need to tell people about?
Say again.
Friend, do we pay you, Lee, for them?
Yeah, she wanted to know if you brought a friend who would be.
Yeah, give me a second here. As part of this is to make it easy on the servers. The way we did it last year was it was blind or visually impaired people plus one person in the group who was sighted. And so that would be, we're doing basically the same thing. The chapter members, so that's the addition, and blind or visually impaired people of Central Ohio, and one sighted person per group. And that would be person would be paid for. Now, if there's more, then I suppose that you'll have to take care of that with the waiter. But watching how this all worked the last time, I'm not sure how we would ever know that was going on. So the honest answer is like, well, who knows? But if somebody shows up with 10 kids, and they'll probably figure that one out.
Yeah. So do we want to keep it at 45 people then, or is 45 people too less?
Patio is not large enough for 45, if I recall. So it's going to be spread into the restaurant too, isn't that right?
Yes, it will be in the restaurant, which will probably be wise if people are bringing dogs. It's probably going to be pretty hot that day. Yes. July 29th, Saturday, July 29th from 2 to 5 p.m.
Also worth mentioning is they do have gluten-free pizza. They do have the gluten-free crust for those who have that concern.
Two to 5 p.m. I will have an email sent out this week with the details. And while we're at it, we do have a venue for the holiday party. It'll be on Saturday, December 9th from 2 to 5 p.m. And it'll be at the Hofbräu House. Hofbräu House. Hofbräu House. With a it's similar to Schmidt's, but a better version. I cannot, because I don't have something in front of me. If Lee,
yes, I can take a shot. It's Deutsch. I mean, after I Hoff, Hoff, Brau, Brau, House, Haus. German's pretty easy to spell, actually. It's almost as good as Spanish. It's in Grandview, on the yard in the new development down there, right off this Gooddale Avenue. It's on Gooddale Avenue, and right, the connections to 315 are right there. You can't get in directly. You have to go down one street and come around a corner, but that's easy to describe. So we'll take care of that part. But and the facility itself is very large.
So there will be more details on that. I don't think we really need to discuss much of that today, right?
Yeah, I think somebody was saying at some point they would like the address, but
Well,
we can get that later.
we'll probably discuss that more at the September or October meeting, I would imagine. We'll figure that out. But I just wanted to let folks know that we do have a venue. So that's all I have for me. Is there anything that anyone wants to share before we close down, or was there something I'm forgetting?
I have a couple of things. This is Denise. One is I would like to bring up the issue of having changed our ID for coming at ID for entering the meetings. I would like to propose that we go back to the original one. I think it wasn't at 614-470-2226, as opposed to the one that's been changed to.
What I will do, because basically what happened is, and I will say this as diplomatically as I can, what happened is our president was under the impression that any event that we held over Zoom had to be a scheduled meeting. That is not the case when we use that number. We use something called the personal meeting ID. All that means is you start it when you want the meeting and you don't have to schedule it ahead of time. So what I need to do is just call Janae and let her know how to do that. It's not, when you're looking at Zoom, it's not a user-friendly process. I had to figure it out myself when I was doing the ACBO meetings back in 2020. So I will explain that to her, because a lot of people, when they see Zoom, they think, oh, well, I have to schedule this as its own meeting. And technically you don't. And that is not what we were doing previously. So I will give her a call and walk her through how to do that, because I would much prefer it also be, and I actually had intended to try and catch up with her at the beginning of this week and forgot, because I also would like to see us go back to the ID that we had before. And I had intended to call her at the beginning of the week and it completely slipped my mind. So I will do that. And if somebody would like to remind me in case I forget between now and then.
Sean, I'd be happy to. Do you have a window of time that you want to be reminded?
I don't know, just
like in a week or so, just check in.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
If you could do that,
that
would be great. Yeah.
Thank you.
Because I think we should do it, like, today, to get my own laptop on Zoom, I had to go, searching through my email to find the link, whereas the other one I just would have been able to type in. So yeah, I want to make that happen, and I will work with her to do that, and she will have to deal. So
it's Erwin, my friend.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt whoever was talking.
Sorry. It's Erwin, and I'm gonna have to run here in a minute. But do we need to do something? I know you and I talked about it, Lee, about $10 gift cards for the national convention for door prizes.
Isn't that usually? What I recall is that there's door prizes at the state convention, and it was what I've done.
You're
2
right,
years is
yeah.
give Vicky or whomever $20 bills. So
okay.
Yeah,
but we probably need to vote on that, I would suppose.
Yeah, but back, when it comes up like October or something.
Yeah,
okay.
I don't
All
think
right.
in the past that we've given door prizes to the national convention.
Yeah, I think you're right. So never mind.
Is that what you were talking about, Erwin?
Yeah, but I was not thinking it would have been in the state, so we don't have to worry about that yet. Thanks.
Okay.
Lovely. I just want to acknowledge that our speaker just joined the meeting, but I do have a couple more things before we close down.
Okay.
This meeting. I just did want to mention, and I put this on the information line, but the next, we have 3 films coming up that are going to be audio described this summer. as part of the COPPA movie series at the Ohio Theater. And the first one is June 17th, which is a Saturday, and it's at 7:30 p.m. And that's going to be Alfred Hitchcock's I think the Rear Window, Open Window. Is it called Open Window? Rear Window?
Rear Window.
Rear Window. Thank you. And then the other two that are coming up, one in both in July 5th, which is a Wednesday, is going to be 9 to 5. And then July 16, which is a Sunday, is going to be Singing in the Rain. Just so you know, 6:15, you can get your audio receiver at that time if you want to. And the program notes start at 6:30 and the doors open to the public at 6:30. But that's all on the information line. And then the other thing is for people who attend the monthly vision loss support dinner, that is on June 19th, and the deadline to register for that is June 15th. And that's all on the information line too, the contact phone number and all of that. Lastly, I just want to mention that August 12th is the CPR class, and there will be members that normally attend our meeting present for that class. And it's supposed to end somewhere between 12 and 12:30, but timing wise, I don't know what people are going to individually decide about trying to get to the meeting so close to the end of the class. So I'm just making people aware, and hopefully it doesn't have a negative impact on quorum.
I wonder if we might consider rescheduling that meeting for the following week, so that people can attend both and not have it be a transportation nightmare. So I don't know, something to think about.
Maybe delay the meeting a half an hour.
That could also work.
Yeah, we have to discuss with the church whether the room's actually available. You know?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll at least get that information to know it's available, and I'll check in with the members that are in the class as well. And then get back to everybody. Thank you.
Say who came in?
Yeah, Ed's looking for attendance again. Let me do the Zoom portion of that first. In Zoom, we have Erwin, Larry and Nikki Hansen, Kathy Withman. Our speaker is here. We also have Denise, and that is it in Zoom.
And in person, we have Lee Tucker, Dustin Grandstaff, Sean Thiel,
Ed Snipe.
Mary Carabini.
and welcome to a new face. Hello.
I'm Ron.
You're welcome to our little group here. And
We also need your last name, please.
we will actually have opportunity to talk.
Ron Hoke, Hoke. Try to keep it simple as my dad puts it. Drop like Coke, drop the C, add an H. How my dad puts it, but I always like to think of Coca-Cola. So
Marty Honecker.
Larry Honecker. Mike Russell. Mike Russell. Morgan Muse. Troy Sullivan.
Gail Baldwin.
Julie Wessel.
Carol Riddle and Betty Hunt.
Melody Holloway with freshly baked cookies. I was hoping to get some assistance passing out before the end of the meeting.
Mary Lynn Pifo.
And that's the group.
Awesome. So I can't think of anything else we need to discuss today. Is there anything else before we make a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I was just curious if I could ask Ron, like how you learned about our meeting, and can you just say a word or a sentence or two about you? And welcome.
I was actually searching on the internet for a local like blind community activities, and someone had recommended the chapter, and I thought I might as well check it out while I'm in the area. I'm only going to be in the area for a few months, but I did talk to my dad about the convention, so I could come back for that. But I thought since I was in the area, I'd check it out, meet some new people, and maybe make some friends while I'm here. And so currently I'm in Chillicothe, but I made arrangements to come to the meeting. And so hopefully I'll make some new friends while I'm here and such. And I am
Well,
wondering who I
welcome.
talked to about the I think there was a $15 fee for the chapter or something. I am curious to join, so because I'm still new to the state of Ohio. Even if I've been in Findlay for a few years, I came out here for a while for a class. So, but other than that, I just refer to myself as the blind guy.
And Ron, I don't know what your plans are right after the meeting, but I think a couple of people were talking about going to a restaurant that's real nearby the meeting location. So you could get up with Julie and Mike if that was something you were interested in doing.
Yeah, only 1 block away. Yeah.
I want to point out something that I think will be of interest to people. Thursday night when I couldn't sleep, I was playing with the Ira Explorer app and discovered that all Fresh Time locations are free Ira access locations, including the one at 930, I think it's 933 North High Street. So, and I know that several people that attend are very fond of Fresh Time. So I wanted to make sure and let people know. Erwin, I was kind of thinking of you actually.
Yeah. And it actually is 933 High Street. I think there is no north, even though it is north, but that is the correct address.
Okay. I just wanted to let people know that it's free Ira
That's
in
nice.
Fresh Time. And there does not seem to be any time limit as well. Now, some of the location access offers are 30-minute call or something like that. There was nothing stated like that. So, and even if you've got a blind shell or thinking about one, you can use Ira on that too. So
Okay, cool. Thank you guys. I'm excited that everyone loves sharing everything, but for sake of time and passing out money and speaker, we're going to go ahead and make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Lee Tucker, I second.
Oh, hang on, Carol. I have a question. We're getting a mic around.
What?
Oh, you.
I just want to know what might have happened to what's her name? Juanita Meyer is on the. Do you have a sick list?
Oh.
So we're not. Are we not aware of anything? Any health issues?
On Juanita Meyer, I think I left a message on her old phone instead of her new phone, and she don't answer the old phone, but every now and then.
Cool. Well, we're going to go ahead and adjourn the meeting then. In favor of adjourning the meeting at, let's see here, 1:45 p.m. Everyone say aye.
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 Any opposers?
See,
awesome. Thank you guys.
See, we actually
Thank you,
can't
Justin.
get done
Dustin.
before 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock.
Okay. Just wanted to say hello, speaker.
Hello.
Hello
And
to everybody.
I'd love to say your name correctly too. Would you speak your first name for me?
Damashe.
Damashe?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, lovely. Where are you from?
I'm originally from the state of Georgia. I currently live in Alabama.
Great. Really appreciate you coming on. We just instituted a new benefit for members who are in attendance in person. And so people are receiving $10 bills at the moment. And once they reconvene, we can start with our speaker portion of the program. Appreciate your patience, and fortunately, we've ended a little early, so we're not late.
Not a problem. I'd try to get in a little early anyway, just to make sure, the technology is working.
Yeah, that's lovely. Thank you.
We definitely
We have a
appreciate
wonderful,
that.
Sean is wonderful at that, holding that together.
I try.
It can be trying at times. I'll have to run some of these myself too.
One of the changes today that's been really cool is I figured out that if I turned my headset microphone down low enough, it wouldn't cause feedback and I wouldn't have to keep stealing Dustin's microphone all the time. So, so that was a small victory.
Well, pre the next pandemic, that's nice to know too.
Oh dear. Oh dear. That is because I may have to get back to you. Lee can get your recording of the meeting from the Zoom side. Part of the reason I'm echoing is because I am speaking into Zoom as well, and so what you're hearing is me coming out of Zoom and into the room. So that's if I know I echoed to myself. I know I echoed to myself, but I wasn't sure if other people could hear that.
And I mean, every time you guys would talk, I'd turn off my mic.
Yeah.
It wasn't my mic. I thought it was at first. I was like, oh, maybe.
But yeah, we can make sure Lee can get you a copy of the recording.
So Damashe, will you be going to the national convention?
Yes, ma'am. I'll be, well, I won't be at the ACB National. I'll be going to the NFB National with JJ. Michael Babcock will be up in Schaumburg for the ACB National.
Do you trade off those conventions from year to year, or just who's closest to wherever the location is, or?
So this is actually my first convention. I didn't start working for AT Guys until November of last year. But the impression I get that is, if possible, we try to, whoever is closest to where the national convention is going to be will be the person to go there. So for me, like, I'm closer to Houston, so that's why I'm going to Houston instead of Schaumburg.
Sure.
And then JJ being I think JJ's more in NFB member, so he tends to go there. And Michael's does a lot with the ACB out in Oregon, so he tends to try to make those. But I think if NFB was in California and ACB was in Michigan, JJ would probably go to ACB.
How did you audition for a job at AT Guys?
They put out a message and Michael reached out to me and let me know that they were hiring. So I just submitted an application and they did interviews. I think they went through a process of narrowing down, to maybe, 3 or 5 individuals that they wanted to interview. And I was one of those people. And after they did their interviews and debated and discussed, JJ called me up one evening and said, "Hey man, I want to offer you the job here." And I was like, "Yes, sir, I will take it."
Did you know Michael in advance, or?
I did know Michael. Me and Michael met back in 2015, working on a project for another company around some media and podcasting stuff. And then we've done a podcast together since 2017.
Oh. You have some history prior to actually becoming an employee.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I've met JJ. I've known JJ met him at a couple of national conventions as well, and of course, been familiar with his work around the industry as far as the access technology and his podcast that he used to do on Android accessibility. Because I kind of dabble across this place with technology, because I used to do a lot of technology instruction back in the days.
You don't instruct any longer?
Not as much. I kind of do some here and there, but I've more focused on kind of web technologies now and infrastructure for small businesses.
Damashe, what is the podcast that you and Michael are doing? What is
the one that we're doing now is Technically Working. And we recently started that one. We had a show that we were doing for a while that we would just show up and kind of record, and it really didn't have any not gonna say it didn't have a point to it, but it had no direction. That used to be called the DM show because we were terrible at naming, and we just like, well, we should do a podcast because we always sit on the phone and talk about technology. Let's just record it and see if people are interested. Technically working, however, is our attempt to share our experiences as small business owners and employees and the things that we do day in and day out to work, as well as kind of accountability as small business owners to, ensure that we stay on task and we're keeping up with the things that we need to do, and trying to really share more so than the technology, even just the experience of being a small business owner and kind of the struggles that you go through, because we all deal with them. And a lot of times you can feel like you're by yourself when you're running a small business, and it's like everything starts to get overwhelming for you.
I love the pun as far as the name goes. Is yours a podcast where it helps to listen in order, or do the episodes kind of stand alone?
They really kind of stand alone. I mean, we will sometimes refer back to something, so we may follow up on something from a previous episode, but if we're doing that, we tend to kind of include, what was the information from the prior episode. So, if I was supposed to be investigating an app or a service, we'll start off with, well, 2 weeks ago, I said I was going to do this. This is what I have done. This is what I discovered. So you can listen to any episode at any given time. Yeah, I like that pun too. I was pretty.
And I'm
proud of
assuming
that
you're
when I
in
came
the
up with it.
standard directories and standard places.
Yes, sir. We're in Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google, and if you go to yourownpay.com, you can also find the podcast there. But yeah, we're in all of the places that you can find a podcast.
What was the
think you
last one.com?
Yourownpay.com.
Yourownpay.com. Oh my. I hear accountability all across the board here. I'm self-employed, so I can laugh about this.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? When you're self-employed, is accountability is key, but sometimes you're the only person holding yourself accountable. That can get a little sticky. It's like, well, but it's a fun show, and I was proud of that pun too. Technically working, because we're always technically, especially when you're self-employed. I feel like you're always technically working, because whether you're doing something directly related to moving the needle in your business, if you're not doing that, you're thinking about it.
You're offering excuses for people not to be frozen in time.
I like that.
I should have timed this process to see just how much time it does take to get all that distributed.
Actually, that's been done for a while. I'm not sure what we're actually doing right now. Why are we doing this?
I was waiting for I was waiting to hear that you were finished with what you were doing before
No. Okay. Well,
all right. So we have. So anyway, is everybody settled and at your end on in person? Everybody, Sean and Lee?
Yep.
Everybody that's going to be here?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. All right, good. Well, then let's officially begin the speaker portion of the program. We have with us today Damashe Thomas from AT Guys. And I'm not going to pretend to tell you more than that, because Damashe can definitely attest to it firsthand. So I'll turn the program over to you. Love to hear just like history of AT Guys, kind of what the mission is for AT Guys, products that have been real successful sale items because people have been really immersed in using them. Anything new that you think is coming around the corner that hasn't been made known yet, and whatever else you feel moved to share. If you want to share a little self bio about how you got involved in technology, that's also interesting to know.
Okay. So my name is Damashe Thomas, and I've been working at AT Guys since around November 15th of 2022. So I haven't even been in an entire year yet. It's been an interesting ride for me. I was familiar with AT Guys before I started working there, and have actually been a customer before I started working there for AT Guys. AT Guys was started in sorry, because I don't remember the year. I want to say 2008, but I know it was around that time for JJ's when he started the business. And for him, it was more a attempt to start finding access technology products or accessible products that are general technology. And what we try to sell here at AT Guys, outside of some of the specialized things that I'll talk about that are specific to the blind community, is we look for products that are everyday, general items that you would purchase, Bluetooth speakers, headsets, things like that. But we're looking for the products that are going to be more accessible for us, whether accidentally or on purpose. So tactile buttons, we try to make sure everything has tactile buttons that are very easily distinguished. Or when looking at, headsets, we're looking for things that are going to work for the way that a lot of us like to work. One of our newer products, for example, was driven by customer feedback, is a USB mono headset, because a lot of people wanted a mono headset that had a microphone on it, but they wanted that other ear free, to pop an earbud in so that they could check something on their phone or check something on another device. And many of us who are blind work in that type of environment where, you may have someone on the phone in one ear and you're trying to hear a screen reader in the other ear, and having both of those at the same time in both ears can be a little distracting and a little frustrating. JJ has, for as long as I've been familiar with the company, always tried to find just interesting products that are out there. Again, that, you could go anywhere and buy a Bluetooth speaker, but I feel comfortable knowing that if I purchased a speaker or any other device like that from AT Guys, it would be easy for me to use. I wouldn't have to spend a lot of time trying to figure out or get someone sighted to read a manual for me. My journey with technology started when I was, I don't know, 4 or 5, and started taking stuff apart. I think the first thing I took apart was my mother's clock radio, and I did put it back together, but I had some extra springs left over. I'm not sure how that happened, but it didn't work, and she wasn't happy. But I've always been a tinkerer. I've always been interested in technology. And as I grew up, I've used different devices over the years, including the, one of the more interesting products I used growing up. I did play around with the Kurzweil reader, which a lot of people may be familiar with. The Mountbatten Brailler was something that I carried my entire 3 years of middle school to use as a device for taking notes and doing my homework. And the cool thing about it is it was a Braille interface, and I could have it Braille out my things, but it also had connectivity for plugging up a keyboard or connecting it to a printer. So I could sit and Braille my homework and then connect to the printer when I got to school and just print it out for my teachers. So for me, that was a fascinating thing to be able to do. This is well before, middle schools and high schools just had computers everywhere. I grew up in Georgia, so in a smaller town in Georgia as well. So we didn't have a lot of computers, and definitely didn't have computers with a lot of speech built in. As for now, a lot of what I do day in and day out for AT Guys is customer service and sales, providing support for the products that we sell to customers. So if somebody calls up and has an issue with the blind shell or issue with the orbit writer or anything like that, me and Michael Babcock are the two primary people that deal with that, with customer service, as well as sales. And we do some of the other stuff as far as, managing warehouse inventory, making sure JJ is aware of what we need to restock, what's selling, what's not selling. The products that we're currently selling right now and that I think people are most excited about, of course, we have the Blind Shell Classic 2 cell phone. That has been one of our most popular products since I started working here. I'm telling you, getting baptized by fire with the Blind Shell. You come in, I hadn't really used the phone a lot, and I think the first 3 calls I had to handle were somebody with questions. How do I do this on this phone? So that was an interesting time for me trying to get up to speed with the phone, but I do think it is a very good device. Excuse me. Some more generalized products that we do sell. We have a lineup of Bluetooth speakers. We have a smaller model, the Max Boom. We have the Tribute Blast Pro, and then the Tribute Pro, and then the Tribute Blast. And the Blast has been popular as a large size portable speaker that, for me, I try to explain it to people. If you remember the boom boxes of the 80s, it is like a modern version of that with Bluetooth. We also sell some headsets. We do carry the Shocks, a couple of the models of the Shocks bone conducting headphones, which include the open comms. Those have a boom mic on the left side that can swing down. A lot of people purchase those for Zoom calls. They're in Zoom calls, in and out of Zoom calls all day, or Teams calls, or any kind of virtual meeting calls. They like that headset because it's wireless, but it allows them to get pretty decent audio quality going into the meeting, and still have their ears open, because a lot of us are now working from home. We also carry the Open Run Pros, which are the latest headset from Shocks that we carry. They're very lightweight, very flexible. And then we have the Open Move, which are the kind of entry level bone conducting headphones from Shocks. Wired headsets that we carry and that have been popular are the V7 headsets. And we have 3 models of these now. One I've mentioned already, the mono headset with the boom mic. That is a USB-A headset with a mute button and volume up and down controls on the wire of the headset itself. We also have a stereo version of that same headset with the boom mic. And we have a USB-A and USB-C version of the stereo headset. We carry the Quiet Comfort Plus from Tribute, which are over-the-ear headphones with some excellent noise cancellation. Like, usually you hear noise cancellation, and you're like, oh, it'll probably be all right. But if my kid yells at me, I'm going to still hear it. They're very comfortable, very lightweight, very good sound, and they have Bluetooth as well as a wired connection. And the folding keyboard that we currently have is the pluggable folding Bluetooth keyboard. And this is one of my favorite products. I'm not really a keyboard. I wouldn't say I'm a keyboard connoisseur, but I do like keyboards. I like having something comfortable to type on, and it's a very comfortable keyboard to type on. It typically for me is in my backpack that I take whenever I'm traveling anywhere. And one thing that I really love about the keyboard, and I think kind of exemplifies the mission of AT Guys to find useful technology products that are accessible, is this keyboard. When you open it up, it turns on. When you fold it up, it turns off the Bluetooth. And many keyboards I've used over the years, either there's a switch, but for too many of them, there are buttons that don't really indicate whether it's on or off. You press the button and you think you turned it off, you throw it in your backpack, you get to where you're going and you have no charge on your keyboard. So I really love the fact that our pluggable keyboard for the Bluetooth connection, when you unfold it, you have turned on the keyboard. When you fold it up, it is absolutely 100% off. So you're not draining your battery while you're in transit. That keyboard also has the ability to connect over USB to a computer. So, or to a mobile device. Actually, I tested it out with the Blind Shell as a keyboard before they added the Bluetooth support to the Blind Shell. So that's one of the products I think really exemplifies what AT Guys represents. Other products that we carry that are, blindness specific, we carry the Orbit Reader 20 Plus and the 40, and we also carry the Orbit Writer Braille input keyboard. And I think for products that are popular that we sell, that's kind of it for a lineup. We sell, some additive products like cables and wall chargers and things like that, but that's most of our major product line. Weight tags. We also sell weight tags. We're a certified dealer for weight tags. So we have pretty much all of their lineup available on our website at atguys.com. And one product that I also just remembered is we also carry we are the distributor for Code Factory for their voices for the Windows screen readers as well in North America.
Does anyone mind if I have a question?
So I was about to say, I feel like I just spewed out a whole lot, like I was talking for a long time. So if anybody has any questions about any of the products that we have, absolutely.
So I have a question. Are you guys still selling the Versa slates? And if so, could you describe those? Because I think there's some interest. There might be some interest in those. Are you still selling those?
Yes, we are. Thank you for reminding me about those. I tend to kind of forget about those sometimes. We do have the Versa slates, and we have 2 models. We have a 80 cell model that's 4 lines of 20 cells each. And then we have a mini that is 24, so 2 lines of 12 cells each. And what the Versa slate is, and I'm going to tell a little bit of a story when I first started here. So, I was looking at the product lineups that we had, trying to get familiar with what we sold. And I was looking at the Versa slate on the website, and I was asking Michael, and I asked JJ, like, what is this? Like, I kind of think I understand what it is, but what is this thing? And they're trying to explain it to me, like, I'm not really sure I'm getting it. Like, I'm not understanding it. So JJ just shipped me one to the house, and I opened it up and take it out of its packaging. I was like, I get it. So what the Versa slate is, it's a paperless slate. So you're going to input your braille the same way you would on a normal slate and stylus that had paper, using a normal slate and stylus that had paper, except there's no paper here. So you do have a stylus, and you're going to input your braille. And when you are done inputting your braille, you just flip it over, and then there's what you have written on the opposite side of it. I've started communicating to people that I feel like it's sort of like a manual refreshable braille display, because once you input your braille, it's there until you erase it. And what we've found it useful for, I find it useful, especially with the mini, which is the one that I tend to keep in my pocket a lot, for quickly jotting down a phone number or a confirmation number, anything like that when I'm on a phone call. It is possible to open up notes on my iPhone and type in the confirmation number, but if I can just quickly jot it down in braille without having two competing voices in my ear, makes it a lot easier. We've also had a lot of teachers and braille instructors purchase these for teaching braille to people, which for me is comforting, because one, it means there are more people still learning braille, which I think is good. And they're learning the way that I learned, because I started in the 80s with braille, and I started with a slate and stylus, and I wasn't super fond of it when I started, but once I got comfortable with it, I felt that I could braille anything anywhere, which is kind of what this device allows you to do.
Do you sell the original Orbit Reader 20?
No, ma'am, we only carry the 20 plus now.
Okay. Are you planning in the future on selling the Braille Doodle? I had recently listened to an episode of Tech Talk, hearing what they are.
We have not made a decision about that as of yet.
And do you accept donated products?
Depending on what it is. If it's something that we can, that we know is maybe in demand, or that we can pass on to someone else to make it useful, absolutely.
Melody, did you have an example that you wanted to give him as the possibility of a donation?
I have an Orbit Reader 20 Plus that I need to replace with another display.
So is it in working condition, and you're just looking to change devices, or is it, damaged or at all?
I am personally having trouble using it. I have additional conditions. It is in working condition as far as I know.
Okay. I'll leave. I'm gonna share my contact info, or share AT guys' contact info. Reach out to us sometime next week, and I will ask JJ how he would like to handle that, because I don't want to sit here and just take a braille display from you that you spent money on, first of all. But reach out to us, and I will have spoken to JJ probably by Monday or Tuesday to see how he would like to deal with that.
Are there any other questions in the room before I ask one?
We also sell refurbished braille writers as well. Perkins braille writers is a product that we recently, I would say in the past 3 months, got into selling, and have been selling fairly well. There's a surprising number of people looking for Perkins style braille writers.
What's the general cost for a refurbished braille writer?
They tend to run $320 with shipping included.
Yeah. And when you mentioned the Versa slate, how does it erase? Is it that when you flip it the other direction, it erases, or how do you erase what's there?
There are buttons. There are 2 buttons on the top and bottom of the braille side, so the reading side of it, and you press those buttons to erase different portions of the slate. So like the top left button will erase like the top two rows of the larger one, the left side of it, and then the right side. And if you're just trying to do a correction, you are able to, take a finger. I would recommend a finger, not trying to use the slate, to press a dot back out. If you've gotten an extra dot in there, like, you can very quickly push that pen back through.
I'm sorry, I saw Michael Babcock enter the waiting room and I tried to let him in and now I don't know where he went. So I understand he's your coworker. If he comes back, I will try and let him in, but he was in the waiting room and then just disappeared. So I don't know what happened.
Okay. I'll drop him a message and see if he was trying to come back.
The other question I would like to wondering about is, and this isn't necessarily what you sell, does Shocks or do Shocks still make wired bone conduction headphones for people who want those?
I have not seen them on their site, but I also have not actually looked beyond, gathering information for, a new product that we were picking up from them. So I'm not certain.
I haven't looked lately, but I
If
found
they-
the wired very useful, and I was trying to find out if they were still available for a coworker. So I, to be fair, I have not looked on Amazon or on their site either. I just wondered if you happen to know, since you are already distributing with them. And I'm trying to minimize the echoes. That's why I'm speaking quietly.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, if they do still sell them, and I'll try to look while we're still here to see. But if they do, they certainly don't make them. They're not obviously jumping out at you, for sure.
Yeah, well, and I recognize a lot of people don't want that for your mobile devices, but I have an old pair that I use with my computer at work, and I'm not taking calls, and I can wear those all day long for 8 hours and have no issues. So I think there's still a place for wired pair, at least in some circumstances. I think they still may serve a purpose.
Agreed. I definitely agree. I mean, that's why we carry the wired mono and stereo headsets that we have, because there's always a use for wired. I mean, I'm a wired person. Like, if I have an option between Wi-Fi and Ethernet, I'm going to go Ethernet every time. If I'm doing anything like this in Zoom, I'm going to go wired headset over Bluetooth whenever, possible for me. And, the one thing that a wired headset eliminates for you is that concern about battery life, especially if you're, using them for during the workday and you're working a 7, 8 hour, 9 hour day.
I have a couple of questions. Do you have a price on those comfort headsets, which noise canceling?
They are $89.
And what about the fold up keyboard?
Fold up keyboard is $69.95.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Did you, I just lost track. Did you say that the Quiet Comforts were wire headset?
They're Bluetooth and wired. So
It's
compare them.
I'm sorry, two separate items or
No,
two
ma'am.
in
So
one?
no, it's 2 in 1. So the headset itself supports Bluetooth, and it also comes with a 3.5 to 3.5 cable that you plug into the headphones, and then you can wire them and plug them into another device.
Ah, okay, great.
Can you do Bluetooth and the wire at the same time?
No, you cannot. Once you plug that wire in, they're wired headphones.
Okay, I was pretty sure, but I thought, it would be really cool if
It would be. It would be. Maybe the next model
Somebody
they'll
wants
get
to know
that.
how small they are.
So these are the Quiet Comforts. They are think studio headphones. They're over your ear, big can headphones. They're not small. They're not compact. They do fold up to a compact size for traveling, and they also come with a case. But they're going to be a little bulkier. They're not earbuds. They're over the ear style headphones.
They're actually better for the health of your ear anyway.
So sadly, we can't use them with the iPhone, but we could use them with a computer or something, or
I mean,
other
you
devices.
could use them with the iPhone. Bluetooth works, or if you have a lightning to headphone adapter, you can plug them in wired as well. When I first tested them, I tested them with my iPhone and turned the music up loud.
Okay, with the adapter. I gotcha.
Yeah, or Bluetooth. Again, if you want to to use the Bluetooth.
I'm not a Bluetooth fan.
Ah, gotcha. Yeah. Bluetooth can be spotty sometimes, for sure.
Mm. Should we assume that Michael made an attempt to get on and didn't, but
Let me see if he replied to my
He has
message.
not come back.
Nope, he said he pasted the wrong Zoom link, so it wasn't purposeful.
Oh.
oh no.
I thought that might have been what happened because there's another Zoom meeting that I know he's trying to get into here in a little bit, and I thought that might have been what it was.
Oh, okay. All right, good.
Yeah.
So before Damashe departs, are there any other questions?
Are there any people interested in the blind shell or using the blind shell? Because that's normally what I get the most questions about. I was at a technology symposium here in Alabama last weekend, and that was the hot ticket item that everybody wanted to know about.
You probably do want to describe it for people that don't know.
Okay. So the Blind Shell Classic 2, we carry that phone. We have it in two colors, red and black. The phone, the way that I describe it, is a candy bar style phone. For those of us that are old enough to remember like the Nokias and things of the early 2000s, it's kind of like that. It's just flat front face, buttons at the bottom, screen at the top. All buttons on this phone are tactile. There's no touch screen at all. The screen that is there is just for visual, looking. So if someone has enough eyesight or you're working with a sighted person, they can't see what's on your screen. It does have the ability to, hide your screen contents if you're security conscious and you don't need it. Outside of the number pad that is on the phone, it's your typical, layout of a number pad with a raised dot on the number 5 for easy orientation. Above that number pad are the 6 buttons that you're going to use for kind of navigating and jumping to different areas of the phone. And starting from that top row, we have a notifications button, which for iPhone users or Android users is kind of like bringing down your notification center. Pressing that button will take you to that area so you can see your notifications, the status of Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, battery level, things like that. Right next to that in the center of this is the up arrow. And to the right of that is a repeat button. It's a small dot, and you just press it, and it will repeat the last thing that the phone spoke. So the last verbal notification that it spoke, it will repeat that. Bottom left going to right, under the status button, we have the OK button. This is kind of a multi-function button. So it confirms an action if you're opening a menu or changing a setting, but it's also used to answer calls. Next to that is the down arrow. And to the right of that is the back button, which also serves as the power on button if your device is off, as well as, the way that you hang up calls. And when navigating this device, hold on. Left side of the phone, left side, you have volume up, down, rocker, and it's one long button. So you press the top of it for volume up, the bottom area of it for volume down, but it is one long button. They're not two individual buttons. On the right side is the favorite applications / dictation button. So pressing this button once from anywhere on the device will take you to your favorite applications. You're able to select which apps you would like to show up in that area. For me, I have Ira and Google Lookout on my favorite applications. Pressing and holding the button anywhere will give you voice commands, and the phone does support some basic voice commands such as call followed by a number or a contact name, text followed by a number or contact name, and opening applications. When you're in an edit field, say a text message or email field, pressing the button once will start the dictation for you. So you're able to dictate into the phone. Otherwise, your text entry is T9. If anybody remembers how that works, I remember how it works, but for those that remember how it works, like it can be fun, but it can also be very tedious. The top edge of the phone has a regular headphone jack. Yay for the headphone jack. So you could plug your Quiet Pluses into this. And then on the right top of the phone is a flashlight for those that may need that And on the back of the phone, we have a camera and then a emergency SOS button, which if you program this button, pressing and holding it will automatically just call a set contact. Bottom of the phone has a USB-C port for charging. That is also where your speaker and microphone are located. In navigating this phone, everything is spoken out. It is a menu system. So up and down arrows to navigate through a menu. Press OK to go into a menu. Press the back button to come back out, like that. You can also use number navigation to quickly jump to menu items. So sort of like navigating the windows with the menu bar in a way. So, press the number and it'll take you directly to, if something is 6 out of 7, if you press the number 6 while in that menu, it'll take you right to item number 6. So you're not having to down arrow a whole lot. Applications that are supported on this phone, I've mentioned Ira and Google Lookout. Google Lookout is for the iPhone users who don't touch Android at all. Google Lookout is Google's equivalent, I would say, to Seeing AI on iOS. So it has pretty much all of those functions that are in Seeing AI. The live scan text, so you just point the camera at some text and it'll read what it can see. Steady hands help help that work better. It also does document scanning. It has color recognition, barcode scanning, a few other functions in there that I don't remember all of them. We also have Ira. We have Be My Eyes is also available on the Blind Shell. Some fun applications for entertainment. There's a YouTube app built in. Spotify is available. Unfortunately for Spotify, you have to have a paid Spotify account in order to use that. But a lot of people use YouTube. We have a built-in internet radio application, so you're able to browse stations. For all the ones I have checked for, I've been able to find them in the internet radio app. There's also a FM radio, but it does require you to plug in headphones to use as the FM antenna. Audible is available here. Bard is available. Zoom is here. Way Around just got announced this week, so you can now scan and program Way Around tags. And trying to think of any other main applications.
Is Script Talk there?
Script Talk is not here.
That's kind of surprising.
Yeah, the feeling I get here is that they're still adding applications. So like I said, Way Around was new. Zoom came out a couple of months ago. Bard was a couple of months ago. So they're still adding applications. For anybody using the phone or interested in purchasing the phone, there are several mailing lists, and I always advise people there is an application that you would like to see here. Along the lines of something like a Script Talk, like that would be a perfect application to recommend to the the Blind Shell team to get that on. And we take a lot of recommendations at AT Guys, or a lot of I would like this application from people at AT Guys. For I advise people that you're probably not ever going to see your bank app on here, or very specialized apps like that, because with banking apps, for example, this is one of the examples a rep from Blind Shell gave me, is like they would love to support people's banking apps, but there are so many banks that have apps that they would spend the rest of the time developing for the phone, just adding banking apps. So that's something you probably won't see. WhatsApp is also here. I'm not a WhatsApp user, so I tend to forget that it's here, but WhatsApp is here. Telegram is available. I know most people use WhatsApp. A lot of people use WhatsApp. Also have the Alexa app is also available.
Question.
Yes, ma'am.
The last time I talked to the people with the shell phone, they said it could not do Wi-Fi calls. Has that changed?
That has not changed.
I don't know if you're okay with me recommending another source of information, but the
go ahead.
ACB on their community schedule has Blind Shell and Beyond every week or every couple weeks. And they actually have Diane Ducharme from Blind Shell USA. And I know it's me recommending a competing distributor, and I apologize for that.
Oh no, it's not at all. We work very well with Blind Shell. Listen, I recommend what is it, Talking Point, and the one that you just said. So they have a Monday call that's every Monday.
Yeah, Blind Shell and Beyond is the one that I'm thinking of, and that is also available in the ACB community podcast. Although the last time when I listened to it, they were talking more about user in other parts of the country, and also the phone number that you can call and schedule Uber rides over the phone, which I do not have at the moment. But they ended up talking a little bit more about that than the actual phone itself, but they're a good resource for information.
Yep, very good resource. And they also have a talking points call that they do on Thursdays, every other Thursday. That's also available. And I don't have the direct information, but blindshellusa.com, you can find links to get added to their list to get notified when they're doing those. But no, I this is a resource that I recommend to people who call AT guys a lot, especially if you're just looking for general information and conversation with other people about the device. There's also a groups.io mailing list that's run by Blind Shell USA. So not competing at all. We actually work very well together. They call us up when they, have a problem or have us confirm, situations, and we're all, reaching out to them for help as well. So we actually work very well together.
Can you speak a little bit to the color recognition? What's its accuracy like, or how extensive is it? Is it just a solid color response, or?
It seems to be, from my usage, to be very basic and just solid color responses. And a few times I know that it was wrong because I know I don't have any pants that color. So I wouldn't depend on it for its reliability. Is kind of, take it with a grain of salt. Like it'll get you basic colors in a lot of instances, but I haven't found it to be able to deal with like a striped shirt or something with a lot of variation in color. Seems to be very basic color recognition.
You get a description of that shirt in less than 5 minutes from Ira if you really wanted to.
Right.
Free call.
Or Be My Eyes.
Yep. Yeah, either one.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Do you sell those glasses that you put on and when you touch something that tells you what it is?
No, ma'am. We do not.
I was going to give you a sale.
Me and JJ and Michael have talked about it. The process of becoming a distributor for a lot of the products. Anything that you don't see us carrying, it is usually due to either the process of us becoming a distributor is complicated, or they want too much from us in order to carry their product. We've turned down some potential deals in the past just because the money didn't make sense, or we were going to have to lay out too much cash up front, because they want you to order. I'm just throwing out a random number. It's not actually, but they want you to order 1,000 units. Like it'll take us 10 years to move 1,000 units. Like this is not a high volume product. So lots of times we don't carry those. We do, however, tend to have relationships with other companies that do sell different products that we don't carry, and we have no problem referring people to said companies.
Do you know anything about the upcoming Orbit Speak, or is it too early for that yet?
I don't know any more than you do.
I know Tech Talk is doing a thing on Monday about it. If I still have that email, I'll forward it on to the Columbus chapter member list if I still have it. I probably do because I never delete anything. I have thousands of emails in my inbox, so I'm pretty sure I still have it.
I can send you thousands more, Sean.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that's exactly what I need.
I don't know if my brain is scrambled or functioning well, but it seemed to me that if you were a Blind Shell user, you were limited in the number of phone services that you could connect that up with. Am I dreaming that up, or was that true at one time?
You're not dreaming that up. So this is the spiel that I tend to give people when they ask about which carriers are supported. T-Mobile and any of T-Mobile's MVNOs or sub-carriers, such as Mint Mobile is one, Tello, that resell T-Mobile service for a little bit cheaper than what T-Mobile may sell it to you. All of those are certified. The Blind Shell is certified to work on their network. Right now, Blind Shell is still in conversations with AT&T and Verizon about getting the phone certified on their network. I personally don't know what goes into certifying a phone. on the network. I figured they have to do some testing, and I kind of feel like some money probably has to change hands somewhere as well, but I don't know that for sure. But I do know that they're in talks with Verizon and AT&T about getting the device certified. Unofficially, we have people who are using the phone on Verizon. My phone, actually, that I'm using now is on a Verizon sub carrier, and it works just fine. Like I possibly didn't realize that it wasn't supposed to work when I put the SIM card in, but it works. And we also have a lot of customers that have success using it on AT&T. I advise people that if you're already a Verizon or AT&T customer, or you're on a carrier that's not, has not certified a device to work, and you're really interested in purchasing it, for us at least, we give you a 14-day return policy from the day you purchase, no questions asked. We're also willing to extend that if you're trying to get carrier, make sure your carrier works. Try it and see if it works. And if it works, you're golden. If it doesn't, then, you can always return it back to us when fully refund your money. I also advise people that if you do that, you are certification to me means that if I call up T-Mobile and I have a T-Mobile SIM in my phone, their customer support has to try to help me troubleshoot. Like if I'm having network connectivity issues, or my cell signal is dropping, phone calls are dropping, or I can't get a data connection. If I call Verizon, they can tell me to, go the other way, because they don't have to do anything for me. And I fully accept that as a customer, that I'm using a device on their network that's not supported. For the people who remember the early days of the iPhone, when it was only supported by AT&T, but some people got it to work on T-Mobile, it's kind of like those times with the blind shell at the moment. It is my hope that before the year's out, they will actually get certified with these other carriers.
I think they can afford it.
See, I'm just speculating that money has to change hands. I don't know that for a fact. I don't know who has to give who the money either.
Yeah. My last question about Quiet Comforts, does that have a microphone? I can't recall what you said.
It does have it has like a small microphone around. I believe it's 3 small microphones built. It's not like the boom mic that you pull down. It's just kind of like any normal headset that has the microphones built into the body of the headphones. It does have that, so you could talk to people on the phone.
And you can plug it into a computer. Is the voice clarity fairly decent, or?
That I have not tried. I will have to
Okay.
try that. I do have a pair in the house, but they're not mine anymore. They were lifted by someone who uses them all the time.
So is there any other question out there that we haven't asked yet that somebody needs to ask again before we close? I'm going to imagine with the silence that we've perhaps come to completion. Damashe, thanks for a really casual way to communicate about what you offer. It felt very conversational and very pleasant. And thank you so much for making yourself available.
Not a problem. Thank you for inviting us. I appreciate ACB of Ohio reaching out to us to attend. We're always happy to come on and talk about the products that we have, answer questions, or just have general conversations about the technology.
And tell Michael hello for us, since we got a brief visit.
I will.
You want to give your phone number real quick? Because there are some people that really enjoy calling, and in case anybody wants that.
The phone number is 269-216-4798. Again, that's 269-216-4798. And I can email Denise, all of our contact details to just, pass out to anybody or share with anybody that needs it, that's not able to take it down right now.
Yeah, go ahead. Send us your phone number, your contact names, and all of that, and I'll send it out to the entire list.
Okay.
All right.
And we're atguys.com, so all of that is there as well. But I will definitely send that email along. Again, appreciate you inviting us. I hope that my conversation and presentation was satisfactory and helpful and informative, because I'm not used to doing this. You guys are the first ones I've done actually by myself.
Oh, good. We're glad to break you in.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It was fun.
Good. Great job. Thanks. A good weekend, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Got some applause. All right.